What's up, everyone? If you are considering a career or maybe a switch into PPC or SEO, I've worked for several years in both, and I'm going to give you the pros and cons of each. Before we get started, if in the future you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this. Okay, before I go into some of the differences, I want to go over a few of what I consider are the same. The first is pay. So if you're a greedy capitalist and you're looking to chase a dollar, now if you look at the stats, there might be some fluctuations here and there, but I would say in general, a career in PPC and a career in SEO, pay-wise, you're looking at about the same. And like I said, in some locations, it might be more than another, and there might be more jobs in one or another, but in general, give or take, pay is going to be roughly the same. The second is always changing. Now, you can consider this a pro or a con, but both fields are always changing, algorithms are changing, features are getting added or subtracted. You are always going to have to constantly learn in each one of these professions. And that could be a good thing because it provides excitement and you're learning new stuff if that's something you enjoy. And it can also be a con that you're always going to have to work and learn and spend extra hours trying to figure out what to do next with the constantly changing environment. And the third is travel, particularly if you work at an agency or if you're starting to start your own agency. Travel, I would say, is about the same on each side. So you may have to go to client meetings, and that could be nearby, or you might have to travel if your clients are far away. I would say, in general, PPC professionals and SEO professionals travel about the same, and it all depends on the client and the situation. So now let's get into some of the differences, and we'll start with PPC. So the first major benefit to PPC, in my opinion, is immediate results. So as a PPC professional, you can launch some ads and you can get a client ranking #1 immediately. You can set up a Facebook ad and start getting clicks, impressions right away. So that gives you a lot more power in that clients don't get so edgy wondering if things are going to work or not working. All of that, you can get results immediately. So if this is something that you're good at, if you're good at being a PPC professional, then you can start generating results right away and get on a good note with the client right out of the gate. The second is will be around likely forever. Now, this is just my opinion, but if you step back to think about it, Google, Facebook, what are they in the business of? They're in the business of making money. How do they do that? They serve up ads. In Google, you do a search, those ads at the top. In Facebook, people scroll through, they see ads. So, in order for these businesses to stay in business, as of now, they need to keep serving ads. So, 5-10 years from now, I think it's extremely likely that they will continue to serve ads, and because they're continuing to serve ads, there's going to be people that need to set up those ads. So as far as the differences, PPC versus SEO, in my opinion, I feel that PPC is a much safer bet just because of the economics of it, in that these businesses are in it to make money, and PPC ad serving is what they are going to do in the future to do that. The third benefit is easy to scale. So if you are looking to make your client a lot of money and in turn should help you make a lot of money, PPC is a really easy way to scale, because for most clients, if they are spending $1 with you and you're approving to give them $5 back in the ads, then there's no reason why they wouldn't want to scale that further if you feel that they could do that. So again, if the initial budget is, let's say, $1,000, and after month 1 you're getting them $5,000 back, then it's pretty easy to say, hey client, we should be spending $2,000 because, you know, we could be making $10,000 more, or 9, 8, whatever. So it's easier to scale because you get immediate results, and it's very clear, black and white, how you're performing. And if you're performing well and you think there's an opportunity to spend more, clients are generally more open to that because they can see it right there in front of them. And number 4, kind of along with what I was saying before, clearly demonstrate success. So if you're good at what you do, you're getting results for clients, it's very clear in the reporting how many people clicked, how many impressions, how many people converted, if it's an e-commerce website, how much money you brought in. It's very all there in front of you what kind of results you got, and therefore, again, if you're good at what you do, you can clearly show that to the client what kind of an impact you're making. So now let's go into some of the negatives of PPC. The first is, I would say that it costs more. It costs more for a client because not only are they paying for your brains and your time, but they're also paying for the clicks, and a lot of that money that they're spending is going to Google and Facebook. And this is one of the benefits of SEO, is they're really just paying for your brains, so they're only paying for one half of it. Yes, there are SEO tools and stuff that they might have to pay for, that you have to pay for, but in general, they're really just paying for your time and expertise. Whereas with PPC, they could be spending tens and thousands of dollars, but a big portion of that is going to the platforms themselves, Google, Facebook, or whatever you're using. So in general, it costs a client more to go into PPC. The next con, if you will, is quickly see underperforming. So this kind of goes along the lines of the pro that I mentioned, is if you're not good at what you do, and if just the client and circumstance, you're just not seeing results, the client is going to see that right away. They're going to see that they're spending X and you're getting them back Y, and if Y is not a good number, then it's not going to take long, a month or 2 at most, before there's going to be some very difficult decisions being had about the future of what you're doing. So that's why I would say that in general, PPC is more stressful, just because there's this ruthless transparency of how things are doing. I would say compared to SEO, it's more stressful, and you need to always be on top of it because the numbers are clearly showing how things are performing. And then the next one is screw ups are costly. Again, this is kind of compared to SEO. In SEO, if you mess up a title tag or, you know, content, little issues here and there, it's harder to directly correlate how much of an impact that has, those screw-ups. A page goes down, whatever. Compare that to PPC, it's a lot clearer to see if you screw something up, if you go over budget, under budget, which is another thing with PPC that adds to the stress, is not spending too much, going over budget. It's very clear to see those screw-ups exactly how much that cost a client, which again adds to the stress and is just another thing that you have to keep in mind as a PPC professional. So moving on to SEO, some of the benefits. From what I have seen, SEO has more jobs. And I was looking at the data, just looking at Indeed and LinkedIn and those places, doing a search for SEO and then doing a search for PPC as far as available jobs. It seems that SEO has more jobs available. And that kind of makes sense in that SEO, there's so many things to do and there's so much work to be done, where PPC, if you have a few experts, they can work on a lot of different clients and get a lot of good results, because after a while, a lot of it kind of goes in autopilot mode, and it's a lot of work up front with PPC, but then once you get things really rolling and you're getting good results, it doesn't require as much maintenance, which means PPC professionals can take on more work, more clients, whereas SEO, in general, it's about the same amount of work month after month after month, because you have to constantly update content and make adjustments, etc. So there's a little bit more work to do with SEO over the course of a long term, over several years if you're working for a client, and there's more jobs available. The next is less stress. So all those negatives I mentioned with PPC, screwing things up, going over budget, immediately seeing when results are down, that adds a lot of stress to PPC as a profession, whereas SEO, you can go months and not get great results, but you can always attribute that to maybe it was an algorithm update, or SEO takes time. It's a harder sell for clients to have that long-term horizon, but it's just one of those things that takes time. And in general, from my experience, I found SEO to be a lot less stressful. The next for SEO is free clicks. So kind of what I was saying before about PPC, they're paying for your time plus the amount they're paying to Google and Facebook. With SEO, they're really just paying for your time. So as far as making money, it's a lot easier for the client to pay you for SEO because they're only paying for your time and energy. So you can make a really big impact for clients if you get them lots of clicks, you get them ranking well, because they're not paying anything for those clicks in Google, whereas PPC, they're always paying for it. So you can save a client a lot of money if you're good at what you do, and you can get them ranking and not necessarily have to pay for the clicks that they would have otherwise. And the fourth is lots to do, which I say is a good thing, because that means you have a lot of work to do, which ensures that people keep you around, because if you're getting good results, you can always get more results, because in SEO, there's always a million things that you could be doing. And yes, the same could be said for PPC, but in general, SEO, I've always felt like, man, there's so many things I could be doing, and knowing that there's so many things that you could be doing makes you feel more secure in your job, because if you didn't have anything to do, then they wouldn't hire you anymore. So with SEO, there's always a million things to do, and I feel like that's one of the benefits. Now getting into some of the cons of SEO. The first is more out of your control, which does add to some of the stress with SEO. I know I said that was one of the benefits, less stress. But if you're trying to get client results in SEO, it's more out of your control because there's Google algorithm, there's results getting pushed down, all these different things. It's a lot of it is out of your control. So you can be really good at what you do. You can be doing the best tactics available, and it still may not get results. So the fact that it's out of your control, I would say is one of the cons, whereas PPC, things are a lot more under your control. You can see by the minute, by the second how things are doing and make adjustments here and there, whereas SEO, you could be doing things and not know for a few months whether you're getting results or not. The next con is algorithms. And I'll just say algorithms are getting better with PPC and with SEO. So something I didn't mention with PPC, one of the things that Google's former CEO, Eric Schmidt, once said was they envisioned PPC to be in the distant future where all you have to do is give us your website and we will decide all the keywords, all the ad copy, everything you can imagine. They can do it better than a user doing it. So that's their long-term vision to get to that. And if they get to that vision, you can see PPC, that is not good as a PPC professional if all a customer has to do is put in their website and Google can do the rest, then they don't need you to do all the managing. So that is a concern. But I would say it's even more of a concern on the SEO front because, again, Google's in the business of making money. SEO, their algorithms are getting better and better. So a lot of the tactics that you use as an SEO professional may start to diminish over time. Now, I feel that writing great content, making a great user experience, that's something that's going to last a long time. But you can already see a lot of technical SEO, some things that used to work a lot better 10, 20 years ago, writing title tags just the right way. A lot of things I feel don't work quite as well or as immediate as they do today, and that's because algorithms are getting smarter. They're using artificial intelligence, machine learning into their algorithms. So a lot of the tricks, all the black hat tactics that SEO professionals used to do simply don't work as well or at all as they did in previous times. The next con is results getting pushed down. So kind of the theme here is the more impact you can make for a client, the more money they make, and in turn, the more money you make. So when it comes to SEO, what you are seeing more and more is more ads at the top, more ads not looking like ads, and also for local results, you see the map pack, more ads in there, and especially on mobile, you have to scroll down pretty far before you actually see an organic result, which means that lessens the importance of SEO for a business because there's so much ads and other stuff at the top. So with that is a concern with SEO in that Google seems to be devaluing those organic results, and who knows, it's theoretically possible they could get rid of the organic results altogether in the future and just show ads. So there's a lot more concern as far as how much impact you can make and the long-term future of SEO. And the fourth for SEO is, I think it's a harder sell. And again, it all gets back to the results. So with SEO, unless you're lying to the client, you can't really say we're going to get you great results right after the first month. It simply just does not work that way unless they really have something screwed up with their website. In general, a normal website, it's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months, maybe even more before you start generating results. And I feel that is a con because those initial months with a client can be a lot of education and setting good expectations, because It simply takes time to get results for SEO. Whereas with PPC, if you're good at what you do, month one can be pretty good, although there is some time to set things up and look at some data. Generally, PPC, your first month is not the best, but it's often not too bad. And then months 2, 3, 4, things start to kick in. You start to making some optimizations, and you can get results very quickly, much quicker than you can with SEO. So I feel that that is a con with SEO in that it takes longer to get results, which means it's harder to sell to clients, and it's really harder to keep them longer term because of those initial months where it's hard for them to understand what results they're getting. So there you have it, my pros and cons to being a PPC and SEO professional. I know a lot of that was opinions. All of these are just based on my experience and what I think. And some of these things could change over time. We'll see. If you like this video, now is your moment. Hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and I'm interested to know in the comments, what sounds better, to be a PPC professional or an SEO professional? Which one sounds like a better fit for you? And if you're already one of these, what have you learned or agree, disagree with in this video? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.